Ah yes, tourism in Japan. Even into the new year, it doesn't seem to be slowing down in the slightest. And with all of the geopolitical shit that is happening all over the world right now when it comes to foreigners entering into new countries, whether it be through immigration or whether it just be through tourism, they are usually the first victims to be blamed. They're usually the first group of people where it's like, is there any problem that is happening in the country? Blame the tourists, blame the immigrants, blame the foreigners. And Japan is most certainly not new to that concept. I feel like they've been doing it for a little while now, but when it is actually a valid argument, that's when we really have to kind of put our foot off of the accelerator and take a deeper look into what the actual issues might be. And there is no better example of what I'm talking about here than with this particular BBC article. You know this shit is getting serious when it ends up on the fucking BBC. Japanese city cancels Cherry Blossom Festival over badly behaved tourists. No, not my fucking Sakura Festival. How am I going to enjoy all of the intricacies of the Japanese spring without my Sakura? Japanese authorities in a town near Mount Fuji have cancelled this year's Cherry Blossom Festival, saying a surge in tourist numbers is unmanageable for locals. The influx of tourists to the town of Fujiyoshida has led to chronic traffic congestion and litter, while some residents say they've experienced tourists trespassing or defecating in private gardens. Okay, I understand the whole, tourists being rowdy and rude and, maybe even the trespassing. But defecating? Literal pooping? In private gardens? What are you, a fucking Labrador dog? Yeah, okay, I get it. With some of these, festival places, they're usually done in, big parks or big open fields where, like in Fujiyoshida, for instance, we're right next to a temple. There isn't exactly the closest encounter to a public bathroom, for example, right? In fact, a lot of Japanese places, especially in the countryside near Fuji, don't have a lot of public bathrooms. You either have to go into a restaurant, or some people have resorted to being like, hey, there's an open patch right here in this guy's backyard. Fuck it. They'll just think it was a big dog. I'm laughing about it, but genuinely it is fucking disturbing that some people think that that is okay to do. The area is a popular destination space during spring because Japan's world-renowned cherry trees are in full bloom and can be admired with Mount Fuji in the background. I mean, yeah, I think everybody imagines and dreams of being able to take a picture like this on their first trip to Japan. If you were to congest all of the Japanese tourism monikers into one picture, this would be it right here. Pagoda, Fuji, Cherry Blossom. Bam, bam, bam. The trifecta of the Nippon experience. But Fujiyoshida's picturesque scenery threatens the quiet lives of citizens, the city's mayor explained, adding, "We have a strong sense of crisis. To protect the dignity and living environment of our citizens, we have decided to bring the curtain down on the 10-year-old festival." Fujiyoshida authorities began hosting the annual event at the park with the hope to enhance the area's appeal and increase the number of visitors by creating a lively atmosphere in the area. Valid. However, authorities say the number of visitors in recent years has increased dramatically, exceeding the city's capacity and resulting in over-tourism, which is having a serious impact on the living environment of local residents. I mean, I guess you can say the same thing about literally everywhere in Japan that a tourist can easily access. I mean, look at Tokyo or Kyoto or Osaka, not even including the big cities, right? I remember last year when I went to fucking Kanazawa, of all places. It's a really nice city. I would actually recommend you going there, but I was shocked at the number of tourists in Kanazawa. I'm like, we are not near a major city at all. We are dead in the middle between Tokyo and Kyoto, and yet there are still so many people here. I think I mentioned in a previous video or in multiple previous videos that the estimated number of tourists that visited Japan in the year of 2025 exceeded 40 million people, which is easily the highest number of tourists that Japan has ever received ever. And I have a strong feeling that that number isn't exactly going to start going down in the year of our Lord 2026 either. And you also have to understand that, I think the Sakura season is usually a very, very hot time for tourists to come in. I mean, in the case of Japan, essentially any time other than the summer is a pretty hot time for tourists to come in, but especially the Sakura season. I mean, when you think of Japan and nature, most people will think of the cherry blossoms, and, rightfully so. They are very pretty. I still think the Koyo is prettier, but that's just me. So it makes sense that during this massive Sakura festival that I'm sure has had a lot of media attention in the West, will naturally get people people to come to experience this one-of-a-kind area and be able to, again, take this Nippon tourism trifecta picture right here. I'm sure everybody wants to be able to experience this to say that, yes, I have actually been to Japan before. Here's the proof. Now, as many as 10,000 visitors flocked to the town daily during the peak blossom season, Fuji Yoshida authorities add in a statement. This increase is due to factors such as the weak yen and explosive popularity fueled by social media. I mean, naturally, it's the same everywhere. This is not just unique to Fuji Yoshida. This is literally everywhere in Japan. The town's authorities report that tourists were opening private home doors without permission to use the restroom. That's fucking insane. Trespassing, littering, and quote, defecating in private yards and raising a fuss when residents pointed this out. So not only, hold on a second. Not only were they shitting in private yards, but then when the homeowners came out and were like, hey, yo, bro, what are you fucking doing pooping in my yard? The residents turned around and was like, don't you fucking say what? How dare you criticize me for pooping in your yard? There was no toilet in a 5-kilometer radius. This is the cleanest patch of grass I've seen anywhere. And I can't believe you're just ratting me out like this, bro. That's so fucked up of you. Although the festival will not go ahead, the city's prepared for an increased number of visitors during April and May. It is not the first time Japanese authorities have had to take measures to address photo-keen tourists. In 2024, officials blocked one of Japan's most iconic photo spots in Fujikawaguchiko with the Black Barrier in a bid to deter badly behaved tourists, which, by the way, I did actually do a video on a couple of years ago when this news came out. I'll leave it up on the card right there, or it's linked down in the description below if you want to know what that's all about. But yeah, that was a real fucking fail in the in the Japanese government eyes. You know, they were like, I wonder if we put up this ugly black fucking filter over it, then people will I don't know, stop taking photos in this particular spot and stop causing traffic accidents and congestion and stuff like that. But as you will know if you read further into this story, all it did was just you know, because it's a black mesh, people just figured, oh, I'll just fucking cut a hole in that bitch and stick my camera lens through it, and bada bing, bada boom, I can still get the photo. Like, it literally changed nothing. They never thought about, hey, maybe if we made this cloth fabric that people will think that it's an impenetrable wall, like they're looking at fucking Wall Maria or some shit. Japan is not alone in its efforts to deter overcrowding caused by tourists. On Monday, Italian authorities introduced a €2 fee to access the viewing area of Rome's iconic Trevi Fountain. Yes, I did actually see an article on this, and I thought it was kind of fucking crazy. I visited Trevi Fountain with Aki, I think, 5-6 years ago, before COVID. And it was already packed then, but considering now that it's like somehow even more packed, that people are charging €2 to see a fucking fountain in the middle of Rome is crazy. Authorities say the fee will go towards helping to manage the number of tourists and raise funds for the monument's upkeep. See, it's interesting that we are seeing this happening in Trevi Fountain in Rome, right? You know, putting some kind of monetary fee, because I'm pretty sure in my video talking about this Fujikawa plaque, you know, felt wall or whatever, that I'm pretty sure I also suggested the same thing. I was like, why don't they just charge photographers or charge tourists to stand in this particular spot to take the photo, and then that money can then be put back in to help manage tourists or manage traffic, or, you know, maybe help the city to be able to funnel the congestion of tourists and stuff like that. Like, you know, some photographers, and a lot of photographers, in my opinion, a lot of tourists, I think, will either be completely deterred and will just like walk away, or they will pay for it because they just want to get the shot, because they're here to just visit Japan, and because of the weekend. I don't think if you charge them like 200 yen, they'll be like, yeah, whatever, that's like 50 fucking US cents, so yeah, take my money. But no, instead, Fujikawa-Guchiko, the local government did possibly the worst thing ever, and was just like, yeah, we'll just, I don't know, put a black screen over it, eh? Just censor it like our hentai. But yeah, going back to this Cherry Blossom Festival here, I mean, I don't know why they are surprised that there is an influx of tourists. I mean, again, any time of the year, just within the past 3 or 4 years since COVID ended, there has just been a continuous rising of tourism in Japan, not just in the major cities, but all over the fucking country. Is it a shocker that perhaps one of the hottest seasons when it comes to tourism is the cherry blossom season, which for those of you who don't know is like late March, early April, usually around that time. And again, like when you have literally the trifecta of Japan tourism like this in your local area, is it really a surprise that you're going to see a fuckload of tourists popping up and trying to get and take a part in this kind of photography experience or just Japan tourism experience in general? I don't think it's really a surprise, you know, and I think that, you know, you should be able to put some measures in. And, you know, if you have to like charge them money like Rome is doing with the Trevi Fountain, then I say just fucking do it. Go for it. If that's the thing that's going to stop the overcrowding of tourism and you want to be able to maintain peace with the local residents, then I say just go ahead and do that. But Japan also has to understand right now, for the next 5, 10, maybe 15, 20 years, Japan is going to be the hub of tourism, especially if they don't have any measures to stop the over-tourism in whatever non-extreme or extreme measures possible. I mean, look, as much as I think this is really pretty, I sure as hell am not going to be visiting this place during the sakura season because I know I've lived here long enough and I understand the tourism thing long enough to know to avoid places like this. If there's one thing that I'm going to avoid anywhere during the sakura season, it's anywhere near the sakura trees. Because shocker, sakura trees are just kind of fucking everywhere in the country. You can walk through a residential area in Tokyo where there is no one there. You are bound to find a sakura tree somewhere. But I will say, I do pity the locals who live in this area because they just want to live in peace and harmony. You know, they want to live that Kyoyoshikage life. I understand that. So I do pity them, but, you know, something's got to give. And they got to try and figure that shit out. And if it means that they have to cancel the Cherry Blossom Festival, so be it. I still don't think, though, that canceling the festival is going to stop people from coming to see the trees with or without the festival, because they're going to do that anyway. But I guess we'll see. If you are watching this video and you are planning to, or you were planning to go to this Cherry Blossom Festival and you're still going to go to the Fuji area, then you can let me know. How many tourists are there going to be? My guess is probably the exact same amount of people with or without the festival. But anyway, that's just my 2 cents. Let me know your thoughts and opinions about anything I said down in the comments below. And thanks for watching. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to smack my face right here. Subscribe to the channel. Let's keep making big channel number go bigger. Over here next to my head, a couple more videos you can check out if you enjoyed this one. And I will see you all in the next one. Peace.